Okay, just a little job I've doing on a CZ Shadow 2. Where is it? CZ Shadow slide. The optic mount. It fits onto there. As you can see, the mounting screws have snapped. Someone has had a go, and I'll see if I can get in there a little bit closer. Someone has had a go at drilling them out already. They used red Loctite on it. They couldn't get them out and broke them. So someone's had a go at drilling them out already. Gave up and then brought it to me. So problem I had is trying to find dimensions, where they are off this point, for example, where they are off the centre line of the slide. So I've had to do a bit of measuring. Basically, I've picked up this edge here. The mount drops in, locates. There is a bit of movement between the mount and the slide, as you can see that gap at the back there. So what I've done, I've used feeler gauges. This has come up with a rough drawing. This is the other way around, obviously. That gap is 0.3 of a mil. That hole there, I measured that hole in the mounting plate there with my small hole gauge. That came out to 3.28 mil. So now I know I can find the dimension from this back half of the slide to the centre of that hole. And then all I need to do is find left to right, or the centre of that, so I can come across that way. But yeah, it should be an interesting little job, so I'll measure it all up and I'll tell you how I got my measurements, and then we'll start to machine. Okay, so the measurements I've come up with, from that edge of the mount to that hole is 26.42. I know I can work the radius of that hole out, which is 1.64, so if I add 26.42 and 1.64, I come up with 28. From there to there, 28.06 millimetre. Now I'm going to call that 28 mil, because 0.06 doesn't sound right. I'm going to call that a 28 mil gap from there to there. I measured from this edge to the edge of that hole, which is 5.6 mil. Again, add the radius there, that comes up with a 2.8 centre, edge to centre. So now I can set this up in my mill, or rather set this up in my mill, locate this edge here with my edge finder, come out 28 mil. Locate this edge with my edge finder, locate this edge with my edge finder, come out 28 mil to there, and then I need to find the centre distance from there. So that's 27 mil wide. So half of that's 13.5. So 13.5 is the centre line. So then I need to say 2.8 off 13.5, 2.8 is 711 at 2, 0, so it's 10.7 mil from the centre line to the centre of that hole, 10.7. So then I can come off that edge that I found, come off that edge that I found, the centre line, and then come in through here, mill that out, mill that screw out, and mill that screw out with a 2mm end mill. Then I'll run through with a it's a 3mm thread. I'll run in with a 2.5mm drill. Hopefully that'll clean the rest of the screws out, and I'll run a tap through it. And yeah, get those screws out. Alright, I'll set it up in the mill and I'll come back. Alright, so we're set up in the mill. As you can see, I've got the slide mounted in the vise. I've got an adjustable, what are they called? Yeah, whatever. Adjustable parallel, that's what they're called, sorry. And a gauge block. So it's hard up against that edge there. So now I can bring my quill down and move it across until I touch that, till I get a signal. Which, there, try it again, there, zero out the DRO on that axis, come out, come across, wind this down, wind this down, pick up that face of the slide with the edge finder, which will be come on, whoop. There, whoop. Try that again. There, zero out that. Just double check that. That's zero on that axis, which is that one. So now I can go back to my drawings and come in 26.42. No, I can't actually, because I need to allow for that 0.3 of a mil. So let me knock this stuff out and we'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so I've got rid of the parallel and the gauge block, and I've wound it in that measurement there, which is 26.4. Sorry, I haven't. What I've done, I've come off this centre line that I found, which was zeroed. I've wound in that ball there is 5mm, so I've wound it in 5mm. So that puts that stem directly over that edge. And you can see up the top there, I've zeroed it, I've gone 5mm over. Then I've come in from this front edge. I've come back half, which is 13.5, plus the 5mm, which is half of that ball. That's 18.5. So as you can see, that ball, I don't know if you can see it very well, the centre of this shaft is directly in line with that. If we come around this way, the centre of that shaft is directly halfway on that slide. So that's my 0 point. That's actually not, because, sorry, this 0.3 gap between that edge and the actual edge of the mount, I have to wind that in. So if I zero it, 0, 0, and then wind that out 0.3, which is, come on, slowly, 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 0.3, you can see that. Now, that ball, if I get my mount, drop the mount in, where it goes, that ball is directly over the back edge of that mount. Not the edge of the slide, the edge of that mount. So now I can zero that and we're right to go. So I'll change my collet, I'll get rid of that, I'll put a mill in, and we should be ready to start milling. Right, so we're back. I have now put a 2mm carbide end mill in, which is now located 0.3 of a mil off this edge and in the dead centre of the slide. So I come to my measurements, which is there. I've had to review my measurements because I was wrong. From that 0.3, I have to come 20, I'm calling that 28mm, 28mm off. Now I found out the centre of that hole is 7.24 from this back edge. So from the centre, it's 6.26 in. So now what I have to wind is wind this 28 mil over, and I'll crank this over. Look at this up here. 2, 3, 4, 7. 28 mil, and then 6.26 in. 6.2 6. Oh. Now that, then, I'll turn the camera sideways, should put that end mill directly above, focus, that snapped bolt. And it looks like it does. So, because it's been attempted first, I'll turn that camera around. I'm just going to peck, I'm not going to feed that down, I'm just going to peck at it to get a flat bottom so it doesn't wander. I've got my mill set at its fastest speed because it's a small end mill. And we'll give it a go. It might get a bit noisy, so I won't talk. Just stop that and bring it up and have a bit of a look. Make sure I'm not horribly wrong. Now I can't take this out of the vise. Focus. No, can't see it. Can't see it. I'll have to stick my head over. I'll be back. Okay, so that looks 100% to me, so we're going to just keep pecking at it and see how we go. It's going to get a bit noisy. don't know if you noticed that, it actually grabs, so it's through the bottom of that screw. There. Now I'll move across and I will do the other one. So we're going to come back this way to 0, back this way to 0 on the DRO, and then come out 6.26 again. Six. Okay. Again, let's put this over that top of that other broken screw. I'll start the mill up and we'll have a go at that one. Okay, I think I'm not sure. I think I might have broken that end mill because it's not cutting very well. Let me take it out of the collet and looking at it, unfortunately, it's probably not going to focus. I did break that end mill. So, right. Unfortunately, that's a bit of a bastard, but I have another one. So we'll battle on. Now I've got to struggle and try and get that broken end mill out. This could be in a job in itself, but we'll drill this other one first and see how we go. Alright, so bit of noise. Got through that one. Got through that one all right. So now I'll, while I'm positioned above it, I'll put a 2.5mm drill in there, which is a drill size for a 3mm tap. I'll do that to both holes, and then I'll come back and we'll see if a tap will start. I'll be back. Okay, sorry, I'm back. I sort of jumped into this before I got the camera rolling. I drilled those holes out with a 2.5mm drill, and I've just got this tap started in the first hole. So I cleaned the threads up. I can't see it properly. You might be able to see it. Come around there. If you can see in that hole there, you can just see the threads. So it's cleaned the threads out nicely. The measurements were pretty much spot on. So I'll run the tap through them, clean them up, and hopefully that's the job done. I'll come back and let you know when it's finished. Okay, finished job. All cleaned up, all degreased. I don't have any 3mm tapered edge screws. But I've tried a 3mm screw in there, it works fine. So this one's going back to the owner. So he can put his sight back on it and hopefully start shooting again. That's it, all done.